Tonight, we'll celebrate the accomplishments and the successes of our graduates, faculty, staff, and community partners of the Mountain Home Public Schools. The Mountain Home Education Foundation currently partners with teachers through classroom grants and with students through scholarships as they graduate and continue their education. Now, I'd like to introduce the other members of the Mountain Home Education Foundation Board who generously share their time, energy, and talents with all of us, and I'm honored to serve with this year. Please stand when you're recognized, and please hold any applause until the end. Ray Stahl, Jackie Morrison, who's probably in the lobby, Julie Haney, Steve Blumrick, Allison Dewey, who's at a school board meeting right now, Janet Evans, Travis Ford, Buck Gilbert, Lisa House, who's also at a school board meeting, Heather Loftus, Kelly Lucas, Marcia Partney, Tobias Pugsley, Ted Sanders, and Bentley Wallace. Thank you so much for all of you. Now, Juliana Pickers, a Mountain Home High School Student Council President, will bring greetings from our high school.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming tonight. The students at Mountain Home High School Career Academies are excited to celebrate Homecoming Week with you. We appreciate your support as you work with the Mountain Home Education Foundation to fund student scholarships and to enable Mountain Home School District teachers to create innovative teaching projects. Enjoy the evening as we celebrate former teachers, staff, alumni, and community partners. Again, thank you for coming tonight, and go Bombers.
Tonight, our invocation will be led by Hannah Baker, who is the senior class president at our high school.
Okay, bow your heads and pray with me. Dear Lord, thank you for this day today and all the blessings that you have given us. Thank you for the educators, business owners, and community members sitting in this room. Thank you for guiding their hands to work towards making our school district a place for growth and opportunities. I pray over the safety and lives of every student, teacher, and staff member we have. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to recognize those who have went above and beyond to benefit our school district and community. Please bless the food that we are about to eat and the hands who have prepared it. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Good evening. What would an Education Foundation dinner be without a little bit of classwork? So tonight we're going to have a little classwork, and what I need you to do is pick up your textbook, also called the program, and turn to page 4. There you'll see information about the mission of the Education Foundation. One part of this mission is what we're doing tonight, honoring those teachers, former students, and partners who are making Mountain Home a better place. We also sponsor teaching grants, and these teaching grants allow teachers to have innovative programs which not only keep the student attentive in class, but make it more enjoyable for the teachers. We also offer our scholarship programs, which include the traditional scholarships and the Promise program, which will give every student who graduates from Mountain Home tuition-free education, either vocational or regular college level at ASU Mountain Home. The goal of the Mountain Home Education Foundation is to make a great school system even greater. Now turn to page 6. At the bottom of the page, you're going to see a list of the donors of the established scholarships that the foundation manages. These endowments have been established by or for individuals, families, and friends who want to establish a legacy of education to go on long after they have graduated from this life. Many of you tonight are donors to the Education Foundation, and for that we thank you for your generosity. For those of you who are not currently members of the Education Foundation Choir, I will keep my preaching very short. We appreciate any donation to the work of the Education Foundation. Now, the last time I will have you turn a page is go to page 7. There you will see the WINGS program. We've had the Wings program in the past, but it has kind of fallen by the wayside. But we want to make sure that you understand that this is an opportunity for you and your family to make a multi-year pledge, which will allow for increased scholarships and assure that programs such as the Promise will continue to be available for our students. The bottom line from this brief lesson, please consider supporting the Mountain Home Education Foundation. And we now return you to the regularly scheduled program tonight. It is my privilege to be able to let people go to dinner, so that's good. And so I would like to have the tables where the honorees are to be able to go first, led by Ms. Almond and Ms. Pevril, if you'll take your group, followed by everyone else. And I'm sorry, we're going to make Mike Riss table the very last of those to go, okay? And then after that, if we can start on this side at ASU and start on this side and go down, please make sure that you guard your food very carefully because someone will try to steal it from you. We do not have any cafeteria monitors tonight because all the teachers are busy, so I'm sure that it'll work out fine. And again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
Thank each of you for joining us this evening and for your unwavering support of our district's vision, every student, every time. I am aware of the challenges we face in education today. However, I'm equally aware of the incredible opportunities that arise when we come together as a community. The partnership between our foundation and our school exemplifies what can be achieved when we unite our resources, talents, and passions for the sake of our children. The foundation continues to enhance educational experiences and outcomes for our students, from scholarships that empower students to pursue their post-secondary goals, to grants that allow our teachers to implement creative learning experiences in their classrooms. The impact of the Mountain Home Education Foundation is felt throughout our district and our own community. Congratulations to each of tonight's inductees into the Hall of Honor. Each of you has had a positive impact on so many, and it is a pleasure to be here tonight as we honor you. I want to sincerely thank the Foundation for your continued support and dedication. Thank you for believing in our children, in our vision, and having a commitment to education. Together, we are building a brighter future, every student, every time. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You know, I understand there's some seniors in the room, and we had a pretty intense Powder Puff football game earlier today. I have a really great picture of our superintendent playing Powder Puff football her senior year. Sneaky athletic, that one right there. Sneaky athletic. Highly competitive, no question. It's my honor to be here tonight. I'm your MC, Heather Loftus, and it is time to get started with our award winners. First off, the Bob Knight Spirit Award presented to Mr. Tommy Knight.
I'm very excited, proud, and pleased to be here to introduce, on behalf of the class of 1973, one of our very own alum as the Bob Knight Spirit Award recipient for 2024. I've never seen Tommy Knight's birth certificate, but I'm pretty sure his middle name is the Bomber because he's been a bomber since birth. He's been a bomber through school, and he's been a bomber throughout his life. Tommy has been the glue that has kept our class together. He knows everyone and everything, what they're doing, where they are, and how to get us together, because he's been instrumental in every class reunion that we've had. And I won't say how many that's been, but you can probably figure that out from our year of graduation. Tommy has always served and protected his friends, family, classmates. Back in high school, he was a fire marshal and protected us then. Today, he's protecting us all by making sure that we all have the right Medicare insurance coverage now. Tommy has always been dedicated to Mountain Home Public School systems in the past, the present, and I know that he endeavors to continue doing that in the future. We are all fortunate to have a Tommy Knight in our lives. Thank you, Tommy. We are so very proud of you, and there's no better recipient for the Bob Knight Spirit Award.
I've known Tommy since January of 1965 when my family moved to Mountain Home. That makes our friendship just several months shy of 60 years. That includes going to school through the class of 1973, Little League baseball through high school baseball, what they called Pee Wee basketball back in the day through high school basketball, and Sunday school youth group at First United Methodist Church. And finally, in addition to that, running the streets with Troy Honda and Jeff Dean. I understand the Bob Knight Bomber Spirit Award. It goes to someone who exemplifies Bomber spirit. I can think of no one better who fits this description than Tommy. The town of Mountain Home and the public school system is always intertwined, in my opinion, and Tommy is an advocate for both. He has supported millage increases to improve the school district. That not only helps the students and give them a leg up in society, but a rising tide lifts all boats, which includes Mountain Home. Tommy has been active in the Bomber Booster Club. He's coached Little League and umpired Little League baseball, which is a thankless job. Tommy started with another gentleman, the Top Flight Basketball Academy, which gave young women an opportunity to start playing basketball and have a good athletic outlet to develop their school skills, which ultimately helps the Bomber basketball team. In addition, for the class of 73 reunions, Tommy is not only instrumental in the organization, but Tommy, more than anyone else, makes sure that everyone there is welcome and they're involved in all the activities. Finally, there's been a couple other personal traits of Tommy which are dear to me. First, Tommy has been a relentless advocate for the inclusion of the 1971-72 basketball team in the Sports Hall of Fame. This team was at times in the top 10 in the state and won the Arkansas Tech Tournament of Champions, which is the second hardest tournament to win outside of state. Tommy has relentlessly tried to get them in the Sports Hall of Fame, and quite frankly, to this day, I do not know why that team is not in. Finally, and last but not least, Tommy has just a proper hate of Harrison and the Goblins. And I think this is essential if you have Bomber spirit. Now, we're supposed to love our neighbors, but this hate is good. It's biblical. We're driving out evil spirits. And Tommy has Bomber spirit more than anyone I know. So, to the Mountain Home Education Foundation, you have made an excellent choice in choosing Tommy for the Bob Knight Bomber Spirit Award. Tommy, congratulations. I know of no one else who's more deserving.
Oh, that's easy. Well, he gave me life. That was pretty good. But he also gave me male pattern baldness.
I didn't get that.
No. So the greatest impact that he had on my life was just as easy, but now these days is extremely hard. It's just being a father, being a great father, and always being there.
The biggest impact Dad has had on my life is probably just always supporting us and making us believe that we could do anything that we wanted to do. Except one time I wanted to play football and he told me I couldn't do that, but everything else was up for grabs. I could do anything else I wanted to.
Yeah, I don't remember a time he wasn't coaching us.
Basketball, baseball,
yeah,
softball.
until you got far enough into school that he wasn't allowed to anymore.
And he still tried coaching later, in the car on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that he won an award for top flight once at the athletic banquet at Dunbar, and I went to it. And recently when Dad got older, he cries at everything.
Oh, he's gonna cry at those things.
And he cried at that,
Yeah.
and he's gonna cry tonight.
He is. You think they're gonna make him go up? Dad, don't cry.
He's gonna, there will be tears.
There'll be tears. I was just hoping it was a roast.
Did you have material?
Yeah, I had a lot of material.
Well, lead with something.
You should leave with something.
Yeah.
Did you know that I hate sports? That's gotta
But
that has got to tear him
I'll
up a little
make
bit.
sure I recruit you for top flight
It's
this
a
year
good
when
thing
your
you-
daughter starts in
I know.
kindergarten.
It's a good thing you married Kevin, so he has somebody to talk about football with. There probably isn't anyone who bleeds blue and gold more than him.
I think there's two things my dad loves the most, and that's our family and his alma mater. They both make him really proud. And this is like the perfect award for him, with it being Uncle Bob and the Spirit Award. He was just so honored to receive that letter in the mail and super humbled. Like, I think it really shocked him. I just know that he coached Top Flight for, golly, at least 5 or 6 years as a co-founding member. And a lot of those kids he started with in kindergarten and coached them all the way through 6th grade. So there was a lot of them that he would still attend basketball games and go watch and cheer on. And I know we go to games and a lot of them come up and give him a hug. And I have to remember that he wasn't just our coach. He's coached a lot of kids and still has a 5th grade team today. And they still see him at the gym all the time and say, hey. I just think a lot of those kids were really lucky to have somebody who wanted to teach them just like fundamentals of basketball, but also just teach them to be a really good person and kind to people and love their school and be proud of it. They're lucky to have him come through and coach them as well.
Dad, don't cry.
Oh my gosh.
You know, he coached me too. Uncle Bubba brought a telephone pole up, he nailed a basketball hoop to it, and he came over the driveway and taught me how to shoot free throws. Coach Wood, that served us well one night on the left. It's my honor to present the Bob Knight Bomber Spirit Award to my uncle, Tommy Knight.
I was gonna wing it, but that's better right. First of all, thank you, Mountain Home Education. You got it? I know. Wait, Grandpa. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kurt, Sandy, my kids. I'm honored to receive this award. Named for my brother. Thank you for the class of 73 being here. We have a very strong class. We meet for lunch once a month. We have a class reunion every 5 years, sometimes in between. And I want to give a very special thank you to Kurt, Evan, and Sandy for those sweet, those good words. And Kurt knows too many stories. Thank you to the Knight family, both past and present. What a great family to be a member of. Thank you to my wife, Brenda. She's put up a lot with Top Flight. Gone on weekends playing basketball with some little kids we didn't even know. And they didn't even know I had a wife for years. Thank you to my son Chris, my daughter-in-law Sarah, my grandson Clark. He's the strongest one you'll ever know. And his big sister Robin. It's actually a little sister. My daughter Haley, my son-in-law Kevin, thank God for Kevin. And the newest member of the family, Lincoln. Where'd he go? Oh, that's right. He's 5 weeks old today. And thank you, Chris and Haley, for your introduction. I got a call from Vanessa
I wrote down Crawford, I had to scratch it out and put Martin. And she made an appointment to come and see me. I said, ain't no way she's 65. Well, I knew it wasn't a Medicare call. And she came in and sat down, gave me this envelope. I thought, oh God, help me. And I opened it up and I started reading. I think she took pictures. We'll probably show up at a family reunion. And I could not, and still cannot believe that I received this award. I'm so proud of the Mountain School System. I'm a firm believer that if you're wanting to learn, willing to learn, this school system has everything a student needs to advance to the next level of their life journey, whether it be a professional plumber, carpenter, lawyer, doctor. We have the foundation to get you started in this life. And there's two reasons to stop in Harrison. Stop signs and neighbor's meal. And in the we can get them to move over here. Anyway, to keep this short and simple for Bob and I, because I was there the first night Miss Magnus gave her a 2-hour speech. First result. I think Bob stood up 5 different times getting ready to shut her down. But he couldn't do it. Anyway, thank you guys very much. Go Bombers.
Our next recipient is Miss Sandy Almond with the Ernest Perry Award.
It is an absolute honor to be a part of celebrating Sandy Almond and the contributions that she has made to Mountain Home Public Schools, the students, the families, and the staff. Sandy and I have known each other for about 45 years, and I can say without hesitation that she has profoundly, positively impacted my life, both personally and professionally. When I first embarked on my journey in education, Sandy was there. She offered not only her unwavering encouragement, but any resources that I needed along my path. I will always be grateful for her guidance and belief in me.
Sandy Almond has had such an influence on my life and has made a huge impact. She not only was my biggest influence to go into the educational field myself, but I'm also blessed to call her my mother. You know, as a little girl, I remember her coming home and telling us about her day and all the children that she had helped that day and just so many stories. I could see firsthand the love and care that she gave those children. She taught us that every child deserves to be loved and to have someone believe in them. And some kiddos don't get that at home, so that was her job to do at school. That in itself influenced me to go into the education field and become a teacher myself. You know, as a mom, she has been my rock. She has always been there to lead and guide me and help me to become the best person that I could be. She's always the first to believe in me, even when maybe I didn't believe in myself. Now that I have Harper, it's great to see her just pour her love into her as well. You know, the constant treats, the constant snack runs, you name it, she's always there for us. She is just the perfect example of what a Christian mother should be. You know, I truly hit the jackpot whenever God assigned me to her.
The impact Sandy had on my life was that she was not only a colleague, but a second mom. She always had a listening ear when it came to my struggles or when it came to my crazy harebrained ideas when it came to intervention and literacy. She taught me to always show up with a smile. I know there were days where Sandy had to be tired, overworked, and underpaid, but you would never be able to tell by the smile on her face.
I recall one particular student who was struggling immensely with reading, but Sandy, in her gentle and persistent way, continued to encourage this student. She didn't just teach him to read, she taught him to believe in his ability to succeed. By the end of that school year, that student had caught up to his peers and was excited about learning. The joy and pride on his face is unforgettable.
There was one boy in particular I had who came from a not so good home life. He was being raised with his grandparents. He struggled in all areas, and he honestly just didn't love to be at school. He was assigned to my mom's intervention group, and I knew that instantly she would make a difference. After a couple weeks of going to Miss Sandy's, she would always check in on him. She would see him in the hallway, see him in the cafeteria, and just tell him how excited she was to see him later that day. That little boy, he probably couldn't find his seat in class or his pencil, but he could always tell me when he needed to go see Miss Sandy. By the end of the year, he had made the most growth in all areas. He was also smiling, his behavior decreased, and that little boy we knew that had so much potential was really shining.
When I think about Sandy's impact on students, one little girl comes to mind, a first grade student we had that came to us very behind with no support at home. Sandy already had a busy, packed schedule, seeing 40 plus students during her intervention slots, hundreds of minutes of duty, and anything else that was asked of her. She took the time with this little girl to sit down, make this little girl believe in herself, that she was a reader. And while a first grader may not always remember Miss Sandy, I know that impact will affect that child for the rest of her life.
Of course, it wasn't always serious working with Sandy. There were plenty of moments of lighthearted fun and laughter. We've shed tears together in tough times, but more often than not, our tears came from laughing so hard. Let's just say we found ourselves in some hilarious situations, laughing at each other and ourselves. It is those moments of pure joy and camaraderie that I will always hold dear.
When I think about funny stories with Sandy, there are too many to tell and too many inside jokes and a lot of moments that I would not share on camera.
Not only is Miss Sandy the glue that holds our family together, but she is also the entertainer of our family. From getting stuck at the top of Space Mountain and having to climb out of the little bitty ship that we all crammed into, to being the only one still wearing her Mickey magical ears by the end of a day at Magic Kingdom, to running through the hallways in a water fight with the cafeteria staff on her last day of cafeteria duty, and always on our yearly beach trips being the one to get taken out by a wave. She always brings the fun and the laughter to whatever we're doing. When I came to Mountain Home to continue my education career, my sweet mate and I decided that, since we were approaching the 10th day of school, we needed to do our Zero the Hero lesson. And we thought, how great would it be to have a real live Zero the Hero? Well, we enlisted my mom, and we really got what we asked for. She not only delivered their treats to them, she came dressed up as a superhero with a superhero cape, a superhero mask, came running through our rooms talking about Zero the Hero and his place value and hollering and carrying on, and then passed out their treats and left. We were all dying laughing. The kids did not even know what was going on. We still to this day laugh about our Zero the Hero lesson with our real life Zero the Hero. Let's just say the children loved place value that year.
Students all across our community unlock their potential because one lady decided to make it her mission to help.
As for your lasting mark, Sandy, you have left an indelible imprint on the community of Mountain Home Public Schools. You have been a beacon of compassion, tirelessly supporting the students and teachers, always doing whatever needed to be done, touching so many lives, and being an example for us all. Your influence will ripple through the lives of your students, their families, and educators for many years to come. Sandy, you have been a friend, mentor, and inspiration to many of us. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor. The Ernest Perry Award is a perfect reflection of your excellence, but your true legacy lies in all of the lives that you have touched. Thank you for everything you have done for Mountain Home Public Schools and for me personally. It is a privilege and an honor to celebrate you tonight. We are all better for having known and worked with you. I love you.
Recipient of the Ernest Perry Award, Ms. Sandy Almond.
Introduction. I'm now going to ask for your patience. I don't do well being the center of attention. I'm a backstage worker. And I'm definitely not a public speaker. But if I was in a cafeteria and you filled it with children, I would be in my element. So if you have a ketchup or a milk carton you need open, or if you have a spill, if you'll raise your hand, I'll be right there too. I sincerely want to thank the Mountain Home Education Foundation for selecting me as the recipient for the 2024 Ernest Perry Award for Retired Classified Staff. It's an honor to be included in this category with the other past recipients. These past recipients are people I know or I have known and looked up to with great respect. In 2011, I watched my brother-in-law and nephew accept this very award for my sister, Anna Jean Dahl. For me to be standing here is not only a privilege, it's a genuine honor. I feel grateful and very blessed. I have done nothing better than anyone else. I just loved and enjoyed my job, colleagues, and of course the children. One of the best feelings is watching a child understand and comprehend a specific skill that you have helped them learn. I did my job to the best of my ability, that's all. I was fortunate to be one of the first two Title I teacher aide, paraprofessional, or interventionist hired for Mountain Home Public Schools. We have gone by all three titles. I was hired by Miss Della Ruth Heron herself for the 1975-76 school year, and yes, that was in the 1900s. We were told our job would be year by year, depending on the money, and I cleared about $350 per month. I can tell you that job still remains, and the salary is definitely better. I worked until our first daughter, Amber, was born in 1978. At that time, I took 6 years off to complete our family. Our second daughter, Tiffany, was born in 1981. The summer before Amber started first grade, I contacted Jeanette Enzer, who was the principal at Della Ruth Heron, to see if there was a job opening, which there was. I reapplied and I was rehired. I continued to work 35 more years. During those years, I have worked with kindergartners, first, second, and third graders. I have worked for 14 different principals, or at least I can remember 14. I was there when Della Ruth Heron Elementary and Nelson Wilkes were 2 buildings, and I was there when they became 1. I've learned there's not a duty I haven't done, and I have learned that flexibility is a must. In 2019, I retired. I thank Ms. Heron and the Mountain Home Public Schools for taking a chance on me. I've had the privilege and honor of working with some of the most dedicated, highly qualified, and loving faculty and staff, like those three that gave me that introduction. They are three of the best. One being my own daughter and colleague, Tiffany Stone. It was a true blessing working beside her and watching her dedication, love, and willingness to learn new strategies to enrich her students. I sincerely hope during my 38 years of service, I have touched the lives of students and colleagues in a positive and encouraging way. Before I leave this stage tonight, I want to thank God, my husband of 50 years, Wayne, our daughters and son-in-laws, Brad and Amber Hardy, Rusty and Tiffany Stone, our grandchildren, Austin, Kendra, and of course, Harper Sue. She asked me to do that. My entire family, with so many of them being over there, I love them deeply. My friends, along with the children and colleagues I've had the pleasure of working with, for helping make me the person that I am today. Thank you with all of my heart.
You know, Harper, I got really excited when you and Zane got in the same class together because I knew your grandma would be a #1 volunteer in that classroom and everything was going to be okay. So, good job. You know, as much as we love to celebrate our teachers, we love to celebrate our students too. And it's my honor to now welcome to our stage one of our scholarship recipients and a highlight tonight, Miss Sadie Quick.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sadie Quick, a Mountain Home High School graduate from the class of 2023. I currently attend Arkansas State University Mountain Home, on track to get my elementary education degree. This is my second year here at ASUMH, and I have loved every minute at this college. I'm so thankful for everything that this community has done to support me, and there's no place that I would rather be. I am very blessed to say that I currently attend ASUMH without having to pay for tuition. Although I am very thankful for the opportunity for the Mountain Home Promise Scholarship. I have not had to use these funds because of my academic distinction scholarship based on my ACT scores from high school. While in high school, I was also awarded the Miss MHEF Scholarship and the Bertha and Kirby Smith Scholarship. The Education Foundation has been so kind to hold these funds for me so that I can use them for my junior and senior year of college. I'm very thankful for the Education Foundation and for the scholarships that I received through them. Because of their generosity, I can attend college without having to pay for classes and other expenses. My dream, since I was a little girl, has always been to become a teacher at my alma mater, Mountain Home Public Schools. These scholarships are making this dream come to pass. This community does an amazing job at sowing into its future by supporting students like me. I owe my success in college to God, this community, and people like you who support people like me. Thank you all once again for listening to my story tonight and for supporting me in my education. And remember, once a bomber, always a bomber.
I don't think I had that voice at 19 years old, that's for sure. So if, like Dr. Stahl said earlier, we're in the business of scholarships, and if you would like more information, we would be happy to help you with that. Dr. Wallace is right here. How many Promise scholarships did we give out last year, sir? Was that a record number of Promise scholarships? Yes, for students attending here. So we thank each of you for all of your support. Back to our awards, and our next video is for our Retired Teacher Award, and it's for Mr. Clint Pevril.
It's an honor to get to speak to you tonight about Clint Pevril, aka Art Man, Mr. Pevril, Coach Pevril, or Pev. I know him in many different ways. I was lucky enough to get to work with Coach Pevril for several years at Hackler Intermediate School. We were both teaching there. I also got the honor of being his principal at Nelson Wilkes Heron. And one thing that kind of brought us together outside of just our love for kids is running. Coach Pevril was so excited to know that I was running, and we would talk about it at school. He encouraged me to do 5Ks. I was training for a half marathon. He was very, very excited about that. More excited than I was, I think. But we actually were at a 5K event, and I'm running, and I see Coach Pevril on the road, and he's, of course, very excited. He's cheering. He's waving his arms. He's doing like this. He's doing all the things. And I'm like, oh, there he is. Okay, I'm doing good. And I kept going. And what I didn't realize is he was trying to signal me to get off the course because I was missing my turn to end the race, and then I got in the race for the 10K that I was not trying to run, and so I totally messed up my time, totally messed up my finish, and instead of being frustrated with me, he just told me he did a great job, and he worked with me on the next one.
Hey, well, first of all, my name's Daniel, this is Ryan, we're Clint's kids. We're in his Hall of Honor room with his favorite team that he grew up and passed on to us, essentially. I guess, first of all, congratulations on retirement and receiving this award. I'm sure feels great, and I know you're enjoying retirement and watching, my son grow up, and as you've had an impact on both of our lives, you've had a huge impact on our community. Mountain Home.
Yeah, the impact you had on our life, or my life, I guess I can speak for the both of us, is how to be a man of God and how to be a leader. That's kind of what has led us to where we're at in our careers, and it's served us well.
When I think about Coach Pev and his impact in my life personally, I think the best way to describe it would be from a story from, I think, the 21-22 school year, which was state track finals. And I remember it was like kind of the first time that we were really, really close, almost won that year, and ended up coming a little bit short. And I remember personally just being devastated. Adults were devastated, kids were devastated. It was a really difficult time, and I'm the mental health guy, so I'm supposed to be the one that kind of brings people up and makes people feel better. And I remember Pev was actually the one that had the wise words for those who needed it, had the hugs for the tears, and all of the right responses to the right individuals. And I remember thinking how much he knew everybody so differently to know exactly what they needed. And I remember telling Coach Husky on the way home at one point, I'm really glad Pev was there. I'm just really glad we had Pev. So that describes his presence and like who he is.
So I reached out to several of students that Coach Pevril coached throughout the years, and here are a few of the things that they sent back to me. Coach Pevril never gives up on anyone. He was the first coach who genuinely believed in me and made me believe in myself. Coach Pevril was an inspiration to me. He brought a positive attitude to anything and everything he ever did. He always has a smile on his face and is always cracking jokes. My favorite memory of Coach Pevril was collecting medal for him on our runs. He is the reason Mountain Home Cross Country is the way it is today. There is no bomber cross country without Pevril. Coach Pevril has inspired and pushed me to always be my best. His dedication, encouragement, and his belief in my potential and who I was, not just as a runner, but as a person, helped shape me into the person I am today. I have known Coach Pevril since I was about 12 years old. He was the first person to share the beauty of the sport of running with me, and he has really easily been one of the most influential people in my life. Over the years, he's been a father figure, coach, mentor, enthusiastic coworker, and friend to me. He played a large part in my choosing of the profession of teaching and coaching, and an even larger one in me loving it as much as I do.
When I think of Coach Pevril, I think of our son in first grade during the COVID pandemic. He was our son's art teacher, and he approached me with a special side project for Pruitt because he saw that he was artistic and had a creative mind and wanted to challenge him. And Pruitt came up with a storyboard for a video comic. And it was of a man called Art Man who created art for others and was trying to stop the bad men from taking the color out of everyone's art. And I think the theme of that video spoke to who Pevril was in our son's life during the pandemic. He was a teacher, he was a man who was putting color back into our son's life in a really dark and questionable time. And I think I also would say to Pevril that he is someone who sees you for who you are. He sees you as an individual, not as a collective group of people. And he takes the time to see who you are and pull out the good in you and helps you grow and blossom.
Funny story I have with our dad was whenever it was one of our first 5Ks together. I thought it was a unwritten rule of you're not supposed to cough while you're running, and I would ask him. I asked him if I could cough. He said, "Yeah, you can cough."
A funny story I remember is watching you run on a time you were probably 4 years old or something on a kids race. It was raining and all you were doing was yelling you're thirsty running with your tongue out, trying to drink the water from the rain.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, funny story I remember. Back to running. All I remember is when I was training for races, he would gradually pick up the speed. It felt like he says he wouldn't, and then he would, want me to run alongside him and say I was getting slower, but all in reality, he was just trying to push me. And it's not necessarily funny, but I still remember it to the day to help keep me pushing, just on every life event.
Another coaching incident where I was coming up a hill and I was huffing and puffing really hard, and he would start yelling at me. It wasn't funny in the moment, but it's kind of funny now. I was huffing and puffing, and he would start yelling at me saying, "You're not tired yet. You're not tired." And I think that's kind of transferred over into everyday life with work, with owning a business, with everything that I do in day-to-day life. And I'm sure it's the same with Daniel too. We don't have an option to get tired. We just keep on going, and that's one of the biggest takeaways from coaching that I had from Father.
When I think about Coach Pev's impact for our community, our students, I really think about, our niece and nephew, number one, come to mind, and I knew how much they loved him and how much he impacted their lives. But I was doing, I had a speaking engagement, and I did a little kind of anecdotal research beforehand, asking a bunch of our past students and current students about a time that a coach impacted their lives. And in that, there was overwhelming stories of Coach Pevril. He's everybody's favorite. And I think, that's for me, the impact that he leaves is one of, when he is in the room with you and he leaves, you're better because he was there. And I think that's a pretty incredible thing to, an impact to leave on a community, is knowing that whatever the scenario was, it was better if Coach Pevril was around.
A lot of people in our community will even go up to me daily and be like, "Pevril, your dad, Clint, he definitely made a huge impact on everybody's lives." Students, parents of students, other teams that he coached against. Everybody seems to know him, and I feel like, him making the impact in the community also just helped influence every individual student or family member or parent, help their daily walk and with life. And, it seemed to really, he just really made a huge impact, not just on our lives, but the whole Mountain Home Public Schools district and all the surrounding area.
I don't know how to say enough about what Coach has brought to my family, the families in Mountain Home that have been part of the cross country and track programs. And we just want to thank you, not just for helping them love to run, but helping them learn how to be good men, good women, good employees, good husbands, good wives, good parents, and all of these characteristics that you've instilled in them, just to believe in themselves, try their best, give it their all, and never give up. All those are things they'll take with them their whole life. So, Coach, it's been an honor to know you, and congratulations on this honor.
We love you, Dad.
Love you.
Retired teacher world, Coach Clint Pevril.
Wow, I am overwhelmed by those videos. Just like the other recipients, and I'm honored to be here with tonight. That's all of us, I think, probably share that. That's a hard being a center of attention like that, and those were such kind words. I see former students who had children that are former students here tonight, people that I went to high school with here tonight, people that I coached with, people that I taught with here tonight. And I'm so overwhelmed with that. We talk about Della Ruth Heron. I brought cigarettes to school in second grade. And Della Ruth Heron called my mom, and she made me smoke a cigarette in her office. For you kids that I just got done coaching and teaching, I know I'd probably never share that story with you, but that's not something that you could probably get away with today, but I have not wanted to smoke since. Anyway, that was second grade. I danced on tables. I got paddlings then as well. Ninth grade, I called Coach Marcantel Dave, his first name, 15 times. Got a paddling right before basketball practice. I was such a good kid. If this were the classroom, and I'm going to give you 20 seconds to do this here in just a moment. I know I've only got 5 minutes, Janet Wood. Don't throw anything at me. She gets mad at me when I talk too long. But I would ask you right now to think about who that favorite teacher or coach is that you've ever had. It's got to be one. Put that person in your mind. And in one sentence, could you sum that person up? I want you to think about that for just a moment. Before we get done, I'm going to let you share that with somebody right next to you, and I'm going to give you another 15 seconds. But first, I want you to know that the class of 1985, when I graduated, we had a high number of students who became teachers and administrators. Ron Chinskowski and I talked about that, and we came up with 11 names of people that worked in the Mountain Home District that were teachers and coaches and administrators. 11 people out of our class of 210 from class of 1985. I thought that was an incredible amount. And we also came up with another 5 who we knew were teachers. There may be more, but those were 5 that taught outside our school district, that never taught or coached or was administrator here in Mountain Home. I thought that was just a very interesting thing. What does that say? Pat, you were there at that time too. What does that say about that group of teachers and coaches that we had there at that time? Freaking awesome, that's right. That made so many want to turn to coaching and teaching and being an administrator here in Mountain Home. Much better place than Harrison, right, Tommy? Oh boy, we could share some stories. Okay. Giving you 20 seconds. Share with somebody right next to you. Who was that person? And you got to sum it up in one sentence because I've got more to say. All right, 20 seconds, go. Yours was Coach Janet Wood.
Sucking up was like,
Oh, all right. Well, we can probably find you some more places. My award has a watch on it, so I was able to keep track of those 20 seconds. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to bet that it might have been the how they taught. It might have been the what that they taught. But I bet it came down to more of the connection that you felt with that teacher. Now, I think all three are very important, but I'll bet it somewhere in there was that connection that you felt. As I talked through the years, just for a moment, I would think about some of my teachers that I had. While I'm in the classroom, while I'm coaching, what was their demeanor? What were they like to me? What would they have said in this time? Would they have put a kind hand on my shoulder? Would they have made a joke? Whatever that was, I could feel my teachers almost channeling themselves through me while I was in the classroom or coaching. And I was thinking, what a legacy that is. I'm going to list for you my teachers that I believe left that legacy through me and somehow got passed on to my sons, maybe my grandson over here, Casey. Hi, Casey. Casey, hi. Okay. Just like a lot of those teachers did from our class of 1985. Some of you are going to know these names. Some of you may not. I hope that someday I might be put on a list like this. Whether it's just in a conversation or a discussion in a classroom. But listen to these names and see if you remember some of them, those of you that have been in Mountain Home District for a long time. Mrs. Wise, Mrs. Gearhart, Mr. Saravitz, Mrs. Henley, Mr. Greer, Mrs. Edmonds, Mr. Hudson, Mr. Hammett, Mrs. Hurst, Mr. Sumter, Coach Bennett, Joe Bodenhammer, who was one of my youth coaches in football, Mr. Wainscott, Mrs. Neindorf, Coach Dave Markendale, Coach Freppen, Mr. and Mrs. Mason, Coach Hewitt, coached me in youth basketball, Mr. Enich, Mr. Floyd, Mrs. Powers, Mrs. Atwood, Coach Brantley, Mr. Davis, Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Ingram, Mrs. Olson, Coach Joe Bill Dixon of West Plains, Mrs. King, you're here tonight. You weren't just a classroom, you were an experience. We got to experience stuff in your classroom. It wasn't just you up there teaching. We got to do so many cool things in your classroom. And I still remember that. Coach Dalkey, my junior high basketball coach. He may not know this, but I know how to spin a basketball on my finger like for minutes. And it just was amazing for the kids at Nelson Wilkes Heron that I could do that. I learned to do that at the end of the bench in junior high basketball. I wasn't very good. But I still used the things that I learned from Coach Dalkey as I coached basketball. I coached youth basketball, 9th grade boys when I was in Kansas, youth basketball. His calmness in the middle of a storm, those of you that know him, I could feel that when I would be able to use that. Mrs. McNair, my high school art teacher, thank you for challenging me. Thanks for just not letting me settle for less and of what I could do. I've always appreciated that, and I still appreciate our friendship today. Mrs. Hackler, Mrs. Hackler. There was one time I didn't have my homework, and I had to come up with an excuse. And, you know, she would spend, like, it was like the rest of the class wasn't even there. It was just me and her. And she would just spend her whole time just listening to me and just, Clint Pevril, I don't think I believe that. But because she took so much time to listen to my fantastic story about why I didn't have my homework, I came up with a story every single day about why I didn't have my homework. But I guarantee you, I had my homework every day after that for her. That's Mrs. Hackler. My wish for my students, I've got a bully pulpit right now, and I'm sure I'm closing in on time, Janet would. And maybe a lot of you that are teachers and administrators in here might agree with me on this. And I think about this as a parent as well. Here's the two things that I really would wish for all future students. Number one, that they find that one thing that they're really good at. Boy, it gives them such an amount of confidence. I can remember being in fourth grade, third grade math, and I got to do some division tables, and I got to lead some students. I thought I was really good at division. My teacher made me feel that way. Okay, find that one thing. Sometimes we're given that gift, and sometimes we work hard at it, but through parents and through coaching and through teaching, you can help that kid find that one thing that they're really good at and that they can hang their confidence on and keep their chin up high. That'd be my wish for a student. The next thing is to have that one person that no matter what, because I know I've seen a lot of students that don't, and I tried to be that for that student, that they have somebody who absolutely is in their corner. That's going to have their back. They know they're loved. No matter what's going on, I've got that one person to hang on to. And so for teachers and coaches and parents in here, that would be my two wishes. I want to thank the Mountain Home Education Foundation for the scholarships that you give, the grants that you gave. I got 2 grants as a teacher in the classroom from the Mountain Home Education Foundation. I want to thank Molly Morgan. She's done a fantastic job putting this all together. I want to thank my beautiful wife, Judy, my son, Daniel, his wonderful wife, Katie, our wonderful grandson, Casey. Thank Ryan, his fiancee, Denali. And most of all, I thank God for the calling that I think I had to be a teacher, to be a coach. So thank God for that. And finally, I'm so thankful I wasn't at Harrison College. I love being a Bomber.
I'm excited to have some of our kids here with us tonight so that they can hear these stories of what school was like back then and know that school is just as awesome today and that tradition in Mountain Home remains regardless of what some people want to say. It is still alive and well in our school district. And so they can see what is possible with our graduates of Mountain Home, just like our next recipient, our distinguished alumnus this year for the Mountain Home Education Foundation, Dr. Justin Lonon.
My name is Monica Lera Bravo, and I am a trustee on the Dallas College Board of Trustees and one of Justin's bosses. I first met Justin in 2016 when I got elected to the Board of Trustees. When I first got to know him, I got to work with him in his role as Executive Vice Chancellor of Operations, and I got to see the breadth of his knowledge about Dallas, the college, and the whole community. In 2021, when I was chair of the Board of Trustees, we had an opening for the position of Chancellor. And as chair of the board, I knew at that time that Justin was the right candidate for the job. Not only because of his experience with us and having worked himself up through the ranks in Dallas College, but also because of the life experiences he brought, as well as his governmental experience. And so it was my honor to be able to be the chair when Justin first got his job as chancellor and to have worked with him over the last 8 years. Justin serving as our chancellor has been so monumental for the rise of Dallas College. He has helped us transition from 7 colleges to 1. As you will hear him say, he is in the barrier busting business, and he makes sure that all of our employees know that we are here for one reason, and that's one reason only, and that is to help our students be successful in life. One of Justin's strengths is that he has a way of just listening to people and being a meaningful listener and making sure that everyone feels included in the process. I can tell you on our board, we have 7 trustees. He only needs to convince 4 of us to move his plan along, but he always makes sure to involve every single one of the trustees so that they understand where he's coming from, and so that they can also feel like they are part of the decision-making process. Justin has been such a extraordinary and innovative leader, and he will be part of the reason why the landscape of the city of Dallas will be changed forever. His relationships with people in different sectors, not only in the education sector, but in the business sector, as well as the health sector, will make tremendous improvements for our community, not only to educate our students, but to provide better services in terms of anything that you need to have a good living in this city. And he will leave a legacy that will live on for many years. If I had to choose a word on how to describe Justin, I would say transformational. He is one of those leaders that just gets it, that knows how to not only talk to people, but how to motivate people to want to do better for themselves and for our community. And that is something that I take great joy in, having been one of the persons who selected him to lead our college.
Good evening. I'm Ron Kirk, former mayor of Dallas, Texas. Had the privilege of meeting Justin Lonon when he came to work for me as an intern in the late 90s. And I don't know that we were that impressed with him or we just felt sorry for him. But he did a good enough job that I asked him to stay on and be my sort of communications and PR director. And he was very honest in saying, look, that's not my background. But after having worked with Justin for even a year, I knew that he was someone that was a sponge for learning, but he also just had this wonderful ability to connect with everyone, no matter their background. And our office was a smorgasbord of people from little cities and big cities. And one thing I loved about Justin, while he was a great assistant, his irreverence did not allow him to treat me like some abstract figure. And I wanted somebody like that on my team. And I'm so glad I did. We became great friends. My wife and I had the privilege of getting to know Justin's family. We got to know his then incredible fiance. We're blessed to even host their first engagement party. And so Justin's been a part of my business, professional, personal life now for over 30 years. And nothing's given me more pride and pleasure than watching Justin continue to grow and stretch himself in a career. I mean, who would have thought a kid from, the small town in Arkansas would go from advising mayors and chancellors and take on a new challenge to not just representing one of the largest, most important colleges in our community, but getting his master's, PhD, leading a counselor, and now being a chancellor. And for all of those reasons, I applaud you for honoring Justin with this Alumni of the Year award. And I hope there are some young people there in attendance, and you don't just take from this that a kid from a small town can do anything they choose to do. But the most important part to me of Justin's story is his willingness to open himself up to new challenges. I'm reasonably sure nothing in his background as a kid said, when I grow up, I'm going to be the chancellor of a community college district. But when he got there and he saw the opportunities to impact young people's lives and their education, which impacts our city and our quality of life, he didn't shrink from that. So I hope you'll be open to new challenges and not be afraid to take on new opportunities, new learning experiences that can enrich your life. But for now, we celebrate my good friend, the incredible, the one and only J-Lo, your recipient of this year's Alumni of the Year. I'm proud of you, my friend. Congratulations.
Good evening. Barrier Buster. That's an apt and self-styled title for the Dallas College Chancellor whom we honor tonight, Dr. Justin Lonon. But first, a flashback. Many years ago, in my advanced English class, Justin seated in front of his longtime friend, Stacy. Were there hints then that Justin would go on to transform lives or to create deep educational reform? Perhaps. Perhaps it was in his mischievous smile that always said, "Oh, there's more." Or perhaps it was his strong intuitive sense of what makes people tick. I remember Justin in a way as a paradox. He was serious, he was tenacious, academically gifted, but he never seemed serious and was never self-important. Justin and I laughingly recalled a video that he and his friend Stacy made to fulfill a class project. The title, Magic. Well, Magic fulfilled all the requirements. Compositionally sound, creative, intelligent, and hilarious. And one other key quality that Dr. Lonon has honed in his academic career, in his work in politics, and now as an education leader, collaboration. Dr. Lonon is a driving force to consolidate 7 college campuses under the Dallas College umbrella. He created a bridge using the work-learn model between the business and industry community in Dallas and 130,000 students that the Dallas College serves. He also demonstrated that incredible intuitive sense in building bridges between the students and the community to support those students, like childcare and the Dallas Promise. Yes, he was a barrier buster, and those barriers now broken can ensure that those students will succeed. The result is a skilled workforce for the Dallas community and thousands of lives transformed. For your crucial work, Dr. Lonon, we honor you and we thank you.
Back home, Dr. Justin Lonon.
Well, thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. First of all, my appreciation to the Mountain Home Education Foundation, to the board and the staff for putting this on and supporting us all through it. And I'll tell you, throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to receive some pretty cool awards, but this one coming from my hometown is pretty special. So it means a great deal to me. This is the community that raised me. So I look around this room and I see so many people that have been part of my life for a long time. Now, when you look at my journey, you might be surprised that I'm standing up here. I know that I certainly am. Now, I mean, for instance, one of my oldest friends that I met in kindergarten is Kent Graham. So don't hold that against me. I did my best to raise him. The rest is on Barbie, wherever she ran off to. And then also, Bob Kreider's sitting up here. Bob and I were roommates in college, where we spent most of our time studying in the library when we weren't selling our books for pizza. Was there even a library on campus, Bob? My family has been in Baxter County for generations and has attended Mountain Home Public Schools. My grandfather, my dad, Roger, is a graduate of Mountain Home High School, and so many members of my family. Now, fortunately, my dad left a legacy of mischief that I tried hard to keep up with when I was here, as Dick House can certainly attest to. But, you know, any degree of success that I've achieved are supported by teachers like Ralph Ingram and Randy Flanagan and Winifred Bell and Nancy Reed and Fran Kemp and Robert Nelson, Bill Maxwell, and Susan Bergman, and countless others. Now, speaking of others, let's talk about a name that was mentioned a little bit earlier. I had this 7th grade teacher who actually kept a picture of me as a child standing up in the tub, is what this picture was. And she kept it in her desk drawer, and she threatened me that she would show it to the class anytime I misbehaved, which of course I never did. Now, fortunately, there was a leaf that covered the delicate spots of this picture. But that teacher, Gay King, is here in this audience. Now, fortunately, Gay is family. Otherwise, this probably would have been a Dateline special somewhere. And of course, my success has been shaped by my parents, Roger and Deidre Lonon, and Mike and Katie Risk. So first of all, thank you, Dad, and Deidre and my sister Ashley for making the trip from West Plains. Appreciate you being here. And I also appreciate Mom and Mike for taking time to be here. And really, I'm surprised that they could find time with all the do-gooding that they're constantly doing in this community. You know, driving the hospital shuttle or the church van, or volunteering at the library, or raising money for whatever it is that needs money that Mom's raising for. Or, you know, spending time at the community clinic, or sewing clothes for endangered river animals, or whatever it is that Mom does. So it's from my parents and my extended family, friends, and community here who fuel my passion for public service. And then there's my wife of 26 years, Tanya, who's here, along with our daughter, Carissa, who are my guiding light in everything that I do. So all of this, along my journey, has led me to a profession of profound impact that is incredibly rewarding. When I moved to Dallas, I didn't know a soul there. I was just going to go for a short time and then come back to Arkansas. But 27 years later, I'm privileged to lead Dallas College, as you heard. At Dallas College, we have 130,000 students, 30,000 early college, high school P-Tech students, and we're on track to have 180,000 students by 2030. And we have 7,000 employees that are doing this work every day. And we graduate over 15,000 students every year with workforce certificates, associate degrees, and bachelor's degrees. And they're students from all walks of life. Our graduating class this last year, 85% were students of color, 71% were female students, and 40% were first-generation college students. So we serve the community that we represent. And as you heard a couple times, the title that I most often carry is Chief Barrier Buster, because we're in the barrier busting business at Dallas College. Because we know for so many students, it's not always what happens in the classroom that gets in the way, it's life that gets in the way. And we lean heavily to support those students in their life journey. Because we all know here that education is the great equalizer. It's the bridge to economic mobility and prosperity. Dallas College is that bridge for those students. That's what I do every day. But this community, all of you, are contributing to their success because of the foundation that was built for me here in Mountain Home. Now, where I live now, and this community that I'm from, are certainly different, but there are so many similarities in the students that we serve. There are those that come from tremendous prosperity, there are those that come from abject poverty, but their aspirations are similar, to build a better life for themselves and for their families. So when I was in the back of Susan Bergman's class, or in the front of Gay King's class, they probably never could have imagined that someday I would be leading one of the largest college systems in the country. But they believed in me and they supported me, as the educators in this room do every single day. There are kids at Mountain Home Public Schools that are going to positively impact and change the world in ways that we don't even know yet. And it's because of your work and support that they're going to get there. This is an amazing community. And you should be proud of all the barrier busters that you have in this community. The impact of this foundation, of Mountain Home Public Schools, of ASU Mountain Home, the Myers Tech Center, the Promise, the Food Bank, the hospital, the Chamber, and all of you here tonight. You all are making a difference. So thank you for letting me to be a part of this community and for your support of me along the way. This is an incredible honor, and it means a great deal. So thank you all very much.
And for our final award tonight, our Community Partner Award to the most deserving Mountain Home Chamber of Commerce.
The Chamber is a driving force in supporting our school and in our community. They promote our district anytime they have the chance. As a member of the Chamber Board of Directors, I have had a front row seat to the amazing work the Chamber does in supporting workforce and economic development. It has also been a pleasure to watch as they promote the tourism in our area. The focus the Chamber has on workforce development has left a lasting impact on the students of Mountain Home Public Schools. A year ago, the Chamber partnered with our district as we began our Work Keys implementation. Becoming a Work Keys community benefits our students in that they will be able to find jobs. It benefits our businesses because they will be able to find employees. And finally, it is a huge economic boost because our students stay home. Over the years, I have seen our Chamber of Commerce welcome interns, serve as mentors to students in our high school, and help our students find employment after high school and after college. The partnership with the Mountain Home Public School District and the Chamber gets stronger year after year.
The partnership with the Mountain Home Chamber of Commerce and Mountain Home Public Schools is growing daily because of the leadership of Danny. As a former educator, she understands the need to be able to grow our own workforce through our school system and ensure that those students stay in Baxter County and in Mountain Home and continue to enrich our community. One of the marks that the Mountain Home Chamber of Commerce will leave on Mountain Home Public Schools and in our community is partnering with us in the implementation of creating a work-ready community and providing Work Keys assessments to our students and to our adult learners in Baxter County. The Work Keys assessment assesses 3 different areas of practical knowledge for anyone who is taking that test. It includes graphic literacy, applied math, and workplace documents. Students and adults can take this assessment and then can walk into a job interview knowing the skills that they are qualified for so that they can be placed in the most appropriate job placement and ensure future growth.
I'd like to congratulate everyone at the Mountain Home Chamber of Commerce. Danny and crew, you guys are awesome. It's one of those things about our community when you look around and you see the people who are leaders in the community and good things are happening. There's the Chamber of Commerce, and Danny and crew have been the leaders in a lot of our educational endeavors. They're tremendous supporters of our career technical education program at Mountain Home. They came out and did a wonderful video of our team at Anvil Metals and Fabrication. These are a group of CTE guys from our local high school that are now successfully running a business. They did a really cool video of the team out there at the shop, and kind of a funny little anecdotal story. They telling their story in a very good way and representing our community very well. And then we look at the video in the back, and here are a couple little off-color stickers in the back that eventually became edited out. But they do internships at the Chamber of Commerce. They're so highly respected and thought of that one of the interns from last year's sister is there this year. So they mentor down at the high school. Like I say, they realize that in this community, the pillars of our community, one of them certainly is education. They're huge supporters of Mountain Home Schools, and they really do. My involvement in the school with the career technical education program, every time I look up, they're there. And they're so supportive, they're so helpful. They are such an asset to this community. So I'd love to congratulate you for the award because it's well deserved. And thank you on behalf of this community.
Dr. Danny Huxley is going to accept on their behalf. Please help us welcome the Mountain Home Chamber of Commerce. I called her and told her to wear the same outfit, by the way.
Well, I know I'm the last speaker, except for Molly, to let you guys out of here, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. But before I get into our thank yous, I did want to say one thing. When Coach Pev asked a little earlier, our kids. Now, for what I'm here for, on behalf of the Mountain Home Area Chamber of Commerce, our staff, we've got Rachel and Eric, and all of our board members that are here tonight, thank you. Thank you for choosing us to be your Community Partner of the Year. As a former educator in Mountain Home, teaching for 11 years, they've talked about the grants that were given, and I still remember my very first Education Foundation grant that I received for ball chairs when I was teaching kindergarten, and that was forever ago. So that made an impact on my teaching and my career in Mountain Home. So thank you. The work that you are doing is very impactful. As for the chamber, making that transition from the classroom to the chamber, I worried that I was going to miss my students, miss the classroom. But what I'll say is I was blessed with working with some amazing people that share my passion for the kids in our community and for just education and workforce development as a whole. From mentoring in the classrooms, you'll see them at church in the youth groups. We were out there with signs for the millage campaign. You name it, our chamber is there. And I was reminded twice within just the last week and a half just how amazing our community really is and the work that we're doing. A couple of weeks ago, Ms. Becca Camp and I had the opportunity to present at the National ACT Workforce Summit. And for 45 minutes, we got to tell our story in Mountain Home about our career pathways, our career academies, and all the amazing things that are happening right here. And the amount of people that came up to us afterwards from Oklahoma all the way to New York, they just wanted to know more. And they were so impressed by what we're doing right here in Mountain Home, Arkansas. It was a pretty cool experience. And then just 2 days ago, I'm in Orlando in an economic development marketing class, and they're doing a slideshow on storytelling. And I look up and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that video. Lo and behold, they chose the videos that we did for workforce development, the one that Dr. Connor mentioned, to highlight. They're using us as an example of how to tell your story. So to know that we are being recognized on a national level, it's a pretty good feeling. Thank you for allowing us to tell your story. Thank you for allowing us to work with your kids and be in the community. And this award tonight is not just for the chamber, it is for all of us. It's for the educators, the administrators, the business leaders, and the community members who believe in investing in the next generation. Together, we are building something very special in Mountain Home. So thank you very much. We are honored. If you are a chamber board member, past or present, would you please stand and just show everyone in the room that you have a lot of people that are here to support tonight.
Well, we're glad she failed her retirement and came back home to the Mountain Home Education Foundation. Please help me welcome our Executive Director, Ms. Molly Morgan.
Retirement is highly overrated. Okay, thank you. It's okay. So So any of you who know me know that I really focus on the details sometimes, and sometimes the wrong details. The littlest thing can make me be sad about the whole night. Well, when I walked in tonight, I made a decision. Today I have learned to identify the problem, focus on relationships, collaborate with others, and have fun along the way. Dr. Lonon led a little workshop this morning with our school administrators, and he said, don't worry about who did or who didn't do something. What's the problem? What's the solution? Well, our problem with the Mountain Home Education Foundation is that we have a lot of students that we want to get to post-secondary education. We have a lot of teachers who have really strong, innovative ideas, and they need a way to fund those ideas. Tonight, because all of us came together, because of generous donors, because of incredible sponsors for this evening, just tonight, we raised around $15,000. So thank you. That's going to be used to solve our problem. I truly believe a community is as good as its public schools. I want to tell you tonight, Mountain Home is good. Our schools are incredible. Sometimes people focus on the wrong thing. They don't focus on the problem, which is to educate our students and get them to the best potential that they possess. Get them to the job that God created them to do. That's our problem. The people in this room, you are the solution. Thank you for your help. Thank you for coming tonight. Be at the homecoming game tomorrow. Show your Bomber spirit. Wear your blue and gold. Go Bombers.